All right, so we're going through these questions here. Definitely wanted you to try these on your own, but they're tough. They're very wordy. So I'm going to go through and do a bunch of these early on here on the front side of this piece of paper. Second question we're talking about, we want to go ahead and prove that the GLS was rented out at 6 p.m. So I'm going to try to use my highlighters here because I have a lot of things going on. If I did some highlighting for question number one, maybe you want to use different colors for number two to differentiate between the two problems. And this would be a good place for us to try to use non-examples or disprove certain situations. So I don't see in any of my statements up at the top anything about the time frame of 6 p.m. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight any phrases I see with the GLS. I'm going to go ahead and highlight any phrases I see with time, and maybe those things can help me prove why it wouldn't be 5:30 or 5:45 or 6:30. So see the statements with the GLS. I got the statements with time. We'll read through all of these and we'll get a good idea on whether or not it helps us or not. So the very first statement I have here marked up with anything in terms of GLS or time, it says the X6 was rented before the GLS. So that really doesn't mention actual time, but I know that the GLS wasn't the very first thing rented. Could have been second, could have been third, could have been fourth, but I know it's not first. So from that first statement that I have highlighted here, from that first statement, which in this case I guess was the second clue, the second clue tells me the GLS was not first. Right. Again, it could be second, could be third, could be fourth. It was after the X6. That doesn't tell me anything specifically with time, but I know since 5:30 was the earliest time, I can rule out $5:30. I have the second statement here. The Camaro was either rented at 5:30 or given to an Indiana customer. That has really nothing to do, I guess. In this term with the GLS, doesn't really give us much information. I'm not going to really use that in this scenario. The third statement says the customer from Michigan came at 5:45. It's not an either or statement like that second statement was. I want to hold on to that one because I really like the next one up. The customer that came at 6:30 did not take the GLS. Now that's pretty outright, really blatantly telling us what's going on. So I want to mention this fifth clue here where it says the 6:30 time was not the GLS. It just outright says it. So it rules that out. And I've really used that one up, so I'm good with that statement in terms of this specific problem. I don't know if I would necessarily raise those because we got to do this table in question number 3. But finally here, let's go ahead now and let's talk about 5:45. So I'm going to kind of sort of go back and read that one statement. It says the customer from Michigan came at 5:45. The last statement I have highlighted here, the Mustang and GLS went to the customers from the two most southernmost states. So in this situation, we know that 5:45 here, and the GLS, I guess the GLS here is one of the southernmost states. And it can't be from Michigan. We know that one of the southernmost states from the very first problem was either Kentucky or it was from Tennessee. So this GLS is going to be either Kentucky or Tennessee. But in this statement right here, we know that 545 is dedicated to Michigan. So because 545 is dedicated to Michigan, we know can't be 545. So this is a perfect scenario of figuring out counterexamples. The second clue told us that we could rule out 530. The fifth clue told us really outright. It just said it can't be 630. And we just figured out because of kind of combining two statements here that it can't be 545. If we rule out 530, 545, and 630, that leaves us with one time only possible, which is 6 p.m. So this situation here, we know that the GLS will have to be 6 p.m. We have enough situations here where we can disprove other times in order to confirm the 6 p.m. time.